From the Heartland Business and Events Center, nestled in vibrant downtown Jesup, Iowa. Welcome to the cradle of the resistance. We are the underground, the voice of the rebellion, and wit. Alongside producer Blake Tempus and Coach Dale Rueber, I'm Jim Gillespie, and this is the news for March 30th, 2026. A sponsor who's been with us since the birth of the Steve Brown Arts Center has been Derek's Repair, located in Jesup, Iowa. Contact Derek Marty for your car repair needs. Also, check out the podcast, What's Up, with our friend Bubba Seaman. Bubba, I talked to Bubba, and he's having another banquet. We're invited again, Dale.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is he having at his banquet? You know,
just same thing he did last year. He said his mother's going to come and fix gumbo and jambalaya and everything. She's from Mississippi.
all right.
But check out on the podcast, they talk about everything with everyone. Nothing is off the table. Discussing real life with real people, the good and the bad, the highs and the lows, and everything funny in between. It's an interesting yet entertaining podcast with real people talking about what is up. We were scheduled to have a guest tonight, and because it's we're getting down below 60 days in school, they couldn't make it. But they rescheduled for May. They'll be on in May, so I won't give you any more information than that. But I will tell you that Dale's got a couple of thoughts for us right now.
Do I really? Okay.
Yes.
People don't think I have a thought.
You've got a couple.
Was that my intro?
That's
okay.
your intro.
All right. Well, a couple things. The World Federation of Soccer thing? Is that what it's called? FIFA?
Federation of International Football Association.
Yeah, it's football. Okay. So, interestingly enough, football, which we call soccer, was once outlawed with a very severe penalty. And that was going to read this little blurb about that today. Is that all right?
Yes.
All right. In 1314, practically yesterday, English King Edward II issued a royal edict banning the game of soccer. The sport bore little resemblance to the game played today. It often pitted town against town with hundreds of players on a side brawling across fields or down the roads.
Oh, wow.
It was very popular, but nevertheless, the king threatened players with harsh prison terms. Other British kings followed suit. Edward III, Richard II, and Henry IV issued their own bans. In 1457, King James II of Scotland banned soccer and golf. Can you imagine Scotland? In 1491, Scottish King James IV issued this decree. It is statute and ordained that in no place of the realm there be used football, golf, or other unprofitable sports. So what was it about soccer and golf and other sports that was so upsetting? The king considered them unprofitable because they were distracting men from
Work.
archery practice,
Oh.
which was essential to the defense of their countries. Without a populace of trained archers, they couldn't raise effective armies in times of crisis. But King's edicts ultimately proved no match for men's passion for sport. The laws were ignored and eventually forgotten. Soccer and golf continue to thrive despite the kings who consider them to be a royal pain. And then not only royalty was down on golf. Mary, Queen of Scots, was an avid golfer. She paid the price for it in 1563 when she was castigated for taking to the links shortly after the murder of her husband. And you know, all those jokes you have about the guy playing golf while his wife's having her funeral. Yeah. Well, that happened clear back with her. But I think Mary may have had a hand in killing her husband, which probably makes, some difference.
That might have been.
Yeah. All right.
That might have been. Well, that is an interesting statistic as the FIFA tournament comes to North America. They're having venues in Canada, the United States, and Mexico. That's one of the reasons supposedly that they went after this last drug dealer, cartel dealer down in Mexico, was because of FIFA. Supposedly.
Oh, is that right?
That was one of the
Let's take sports a little bit too seriously, isn't it?
Well, they don't want the violence that comes with the cartel.
Yeah. Now you wonder, if Canada and the United States play football, opportunity there for people to get roughed up a little bit if their feelings are still. What was it? Hungary and Russia? After Russia invaded Hungary in the 50s, they were at the Olympics, and it was water polo, and they said the blood was the water in the pool was red from the blood.
Really?
Yeah, and I think that was the case, but I should have looked that up beforehand. But
When they had qualifying games in Malta. Ireland was part of that what do they call that group? Part of that group that had qualified Malta. This is back in the 90s.
Yeah.
They were afraid of the hooligans that came with the Irish team.
Yeah.
And so when the Irish arrived at the airport, forced them all into like a cattle pen. And there were so many people in there. Finally, the Irish in this cattle pen started to moo like cattle.
Yeah.
And the people of Malta found great humor in that. Finally let them out of the pen. But
the Irish are always in the middle. I read a thing where you might notice in the Parade of Nations, as they get to the leader of the nation, they dip their flag, but the United States flag is never dipped. It just goes on by. And they said that happened because the first time they did this, the person who was carrying the flag was raising a big Irishman, came up and said, "Now, you'll not be dipping your flag to no English king, will you?" And the guy said, "No." And so that tradition was started, so the United States flag is never dipped. And so...
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
Can I tell you what? Local news, the Green Bean Cafe. You know that?
The Green Roast Cafe?
The Green Roast Cafe. What do they roast, though?
They roast coffee.
Beans. Yes. Okay. All right.
Coffee beans.
Geez, why do I keep doing that? Why you would think? All right. But anyway, I was down there recently, and they have a chicken wrap now. But it's not just a chicken wrap, it's a Dave's chicken wrap.
Why is it called Dave's chicken wrap?
Well, Dave Sabers comes in every day and gets one for lunch. And so they finally just started calling it Dave's chicken wrap, which I thought was very interesting.
That is very kind of him, yeah.
I know a lot of cafes near universities. They will name sandwiches or something after a star athlete or someone. That's always the goal, to be good enough to get your name on a sandwich at a certain place. So,
okay.
One more thing?
One more thing.
All right.
Sure.
Fox News. They have a lot of different people that talk about different things. And Mark Levine and Sean Hannity are big supporters of Trump in this Iran war. Is it Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly are against? And so they speak up. So Mark Levine, talking about Megyn Kelly, said she is emotionally unhinged, lewd, and petulant. So she wrote back to him. This is all done online, of course. So she writes back to Micropenis Mark. She said, Levine is lewd, crude, nasty. He doesn't like it when women like me fight back because of his micropenis. Okay. So then Trump got into it, and he said, Mark Levine is under siege by other people with far less intellect, capability, and love for our country. Mark is tough, strong, and brilliant. So Megyn Kelly responds to that. Levine sends her lots of messages that aren't very nice. So she said, after hundreds of tweets and attacks, you punch the bully in the rhetorical face, and then he goes running to daddy about his micro penis. I just love this kind of stuff. All right. And then Marjorie Taylor Greene pops in. I wholeheartedly support Megyn Kelly telling the world that Mark Levine has a micro penis. So I thought that was very interesting that the fellows are fighting. And the girl, okay. And then today I learned that, yesterday Trump started putting ICE agents in the airports. And they interviewed all these people and said, well, are they helping the lines or move faster? No, he says they're just standing around, walking around, talking with each other and this sort of thing. And they said that ICE at the airports is kind of like an after-school program. It doesn't give them anything to do, but it keeps them off the streets, which I thought was very funny.
That's good humor.
Yes. And also Fox News reported the new Ayatollah is probably gay. Fox News has reported.
Interesting.
I thought you should know that. And then there's a women's pro baseball league that's getting started. Did you know that? They got 4 teams, New York, Boston, LA, and San Francisco. They're going to play regular baseball. And they're hoping that this league will, of course, expand.
Yes.
So, all right. Remind people that golf season is started up at the high school. And on April the 9th, there's a North Iowa Cedar League Conference Triangular at the Town and Country Golf Club. Where is that at?
Town and Country, is that in Owen?
I don't know. But anyway, it's boys and girls. That's their first golf meet of April is for the 9th of April. So
okay,
that's coming up. And then the girls track starts the 7th of April with the Jesup girls invite. And the boys are going March 31st to Vinton Shellsburg and then to BCLUW at BCLUW on the 2nd. And on the 7th, they're going to EDCO. So they got some away meets coming up. So
The Town and Country Golf Course is in Grundy Center.
Grundy
Forgive me.
Center.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, I've been. That's a nice course. Yeah. Okay. And I've seen them. The cross country guys run out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I know where that is. So, okay. All right. I got a couple more things I'll do later.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Jim.
Well, thank you, Mark Levine.
Yeah. So I would love to be. I don't know, but they say he's a nasty guy, though. So
he will attack the people that call in if they don't agree with him.
yeah. Well,
So we would never do that if we could allow people to call in.
Yeah, but we don't allow them to.
Yeah,
no,
we
we're
don't
not having any
allow
of
them
that.
to call in. Yeah. So, all right. So we've got, this is a potpourri of events for the last
Okay.
the last part of this segment.
Yeah, all
This is Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network. Let's go. Item 1, Iowa women's basketball. They're out.
Yeah.
Did you watch that?
Yes, I did. And I would have bet that the men would lose and the women would win. And it was just the opposite. And so I love that men's basketball game. The whole game, I kept thinking, okay, this is not going to happen. And then somebody's got to beat those number one teams. They lose every year. So
They do.
I thought it was nice. So it'd be nice. And it sets up an interesting game that to play Nebraska.
Yeah.
That they split with very close games during the season. So should be very interesting game to try to get to the Elite Eight.
Well, you ran right by the women, so I'll go back to the women.
Okay. Well, I eat breakfast once a week with a guy whose granddaughter is on the Iowa team, the Levine girl.
Yeah.
And I hated to see him, but I told Mark, I said they didn't hit 50% of their free throws. They didn't hit even 20% of their 3-pointers, so there's no way they should have won. You know?
No, yeah,
So
you shoot bad.
They ran into a bad game, and but man, you just hate it when you see kids lose games because they don't hit free throws.
Yeah.
You think it just kills me when that happens. So
All right. Then you talked about the Iowa men. Who did they beat? Who was the number 1 seed they beat?
Florida.
Yes, they were. Yes, they were. Very good. Then item 3. We'll go right to item 3 since you talked about item 2. ISU men's basketball. They're still in it.
Yeah, and they're looking really good. They lost their All-American, Jefferson kid, but they're still playing really, really well. And everything they tell you is how tough they are, that they're a tough team. They don't wilt, and they're hard out there on the court. They really go after it. They scrap.
There is.
And they said their coach is I guess this is the Iowa coach. Have you read about him? He's a scrapper. He ran a marathon when he was 40. And when he was playing, they referred to him as the Bulldog. So his team is really reflecting his personality, it seems like.
Okay. Yeah, it was the Iowa coach.
The Iowa coach, yeah. The Iowa State coach, I don't know that. They renamed. I like him because he wears those tight shirts that kind of emphasize his shoulder muscles or his arm muscles. And they say that the kids get after him every now and tease him about that. But he wears them anyway. So
the Iowa State coach is being talked about as the next North Carolina coach as soon as they get beat out.
Yeah, I suppose. And
So.
he's done a fantastic job there.
Yes, he has.
Well, they went from a 2-win season to they've been to the final 16, 3 of the last 5 years or something like that?
I think so.
And so, I don't know if I'd want to go. You know, Ames is a nice town. He can be there probably as long as he wants to, and he can be comfortable. And if you go to North Carolina, that's really a hot seat for basketball. And I keep thinking about Fred Hoiberg, how happy he was in Ames. Then he took that job with the Chicago Bulls, and then, that didn't work out too well, and so now he has to live in Nebraska.
Okay. Well, item 4, the Iowa State women are out.
Yes.
Audie Crooks.
Yep.
Gone, although she had 31 points.
Yeah.
Played real well.
And she has, 1 year left?
She does. There's talk that she may go directly to the WNBA.
Oh, is that right?
And the WNBA settled their contract, so...
Yeah, that's good money they're making now.
Yeah.
Not as much as the men,
money.
but it's still.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't know. You just wonder how much she's making this year. Because they showed her at the state basketball tournament, because her Bishop Garrigan's, where she went to high school, they say she bought all new uniforms for them this year. So she is making some of that money for playing basketball. But some of these kids are making more money in college than they would be as first-year pro. Of course, the women, if they've changed this now, it's probably bigger money.
If you remember, Caitlin Clark appeared on all the Hy-B ads. Now it's Audie Crook appears on all of them now, so she's getting the Hy-B money.
Yeah, and Caitlin Clark is going to more national things, and she's even doing commercials with those guys that do the during the NCAA tournament. Samuel Jackson, those guys. She's working with those people now, so that's got to be big money, I would think. So,
item 6, why, or item 5, why are we in the Iran war, Dale?
Well, no one knows because no one will really say, and I don't think they have a reason. I think we are being governed by a man's whim, and he thinks about something and mentions it, and all his little helpers start running around trying to figure out how to make it so. If you know the history of that, they've been there thousands of years. We know that from teaching history.
The Persians.
Yeah, that civilization's been there, and they're not going anywhere. And you're not going to make them do anything they don't, because they know the sand will fill in any hole. You just got to wait it out, and that's what they're doing. He said we obliterated all their nuclear stuff that first strike, but then we went to war so they wouldn't make a nuclear bomb, but we had gotten rid of all their stuff before, when the first strike is what he said. And so I don't know. And it bothers me they're sending Marines and then the 101st Airborne over there now. They're on their way. He had to know. They were plans from 50 years ago saying, if you mess with Iran, that little strait there is going to be a problem. And he went in thinking it's not going to be a problem. We're going to wipe them out the first day. And so now it is a problem. And it doesn't take much to close that thing off.
So Dale, teach me, what is treason?
Well, treason is working against your country with another country.
Okay, so then tell me this. So you have Mark Levine and Sean Hannity, the number one supporter of President Trump financially, other than the guy that makes the e-cars and the spaceships.
Sure, Musk.
Elon Musk is pro-Israel. Is President Trump treasonous for this because they say Israel wants this war?
Yeah. So, I don't know. I was always a big admirer of Israel because they made a country out of nothing when they had nothing, and they just scrapped, and they had to fight wars against being tremendously outnumbered against, Egypt and all those. But they are killing way too many civilians in what they're doing now. It just bothers me tremendously because I don't know if their goal is to wipe out everybody that's there that's not Jewish, or I have no idea. But it's just too much. And see that guy, the president of Israel, Netanyahu. He's on the ropes too. I mean, there's a lot of people been after him for several years, and with all this stuff going on, that's kind of been put by the wayside until things get settled. Mm-hmm. And so it's to his advantage to have things being upheaval all the time. So I don't know. You would think that you would put other, the whole country's good against your own self-interest, but it doesn't seem like that's the way it's happening in Israel or even in our country, I think. So,
all right.
It's kind of scary. So,
all right. Well, this is Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network. We'll be right back. This is Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network. We're back and with our weekly Mason Fox Top 10.
Top 10 what?
Top 10 favorite cars. The top 10 vehicles of all time, sponsored by Mickey D's Pizza and Lobster. The Farrells are kind sponsors of this podcast. Include them at your wedding, graduation, or festival plans. Don't wait. Their schedule's filling up for the 2026. And I have information that I cannot tell you about something new brewing there.
Okay. Are these all American cars, or are they European? Can you tell?
You can say whatever you want.
Okay, all right.
Do you have a top 5? I'll make it easy for you. Top 5.
Well, I always loved those first Thunderbirds that came out, the 2-seaters back in the 50s.
Yes.
And like a 65 Mustang, candy apple red with 4 on the floor. And a beautiful car. I like, they have Cadillacs today. They're not the long, drawn-out ones.
The Coupe de Vol?
I don't know what it's called, but it's a nice-looking car. And I always thought, to me, a Cadillac is still an ultra-important car. So I like the Thunderbird and the Mustang, and there were cars, they're called Buick Centuries, but I loved them. I thought they were wonderful. They don't make them anymore. I thought they were wonderful cars.
Yeah.
I bought one after another as long as they made them.
You like the big cars?
Well, they're medium cars. Yeah, they're not real big. Yeah, no, I don't like big cars. And I like Silverado pickups. See, so I would pick that. So that's
very
top
good.
five just right off the top of my head.
Very
here,
good.
So.
All right. Well, Mason Fox from M's Coffee. This is his top 10. But first, OTL, the Dodge Charger. Off the list for those of you that don't know what OTL is.
Okay, the Dodge Charger is like Dukes of Hazzard, right? That kind
I
of car.
believe so.
Yeah, okay, yeah. They could really go. All right.
Yeah. Another OTL, the Dodge Neon.
Okay.
I'll never forget driving, I believe the Neon plant was just out between Rockford and Chicago, because I can remember seeing thousands of neons sitting out.
See, to me, Neon is a wimpy little name. That would be like a girl would drive that car.
OTL, the last one off the list, the Dodge Ram. Okay. Number 10.
Okay.
The Chevy Silverado.
Yeah.
Number 9, the GMC Yukon 2-door. Number 8, Chevy Corvette Grand Sports Convertible.
Mm-hmm.
Number 7, the Cadillac ATS. He's a Cadillac man.
Yeah.
Number 6, the Chevy Cavalier. Number 5, the Chevy Equinox. What is the Equinox?
That's what I have.
Is that what you drive?
Yeah, you see a lot of them around, yeah.
Okay. Number 4, the Mini Cooper.
Okay. I have actually driven one of those.
Okay. Number 3, the Ford Galaxy 500.
That was my first car that I bought.
Number 2, the Dodge Stealth.
Don't know that.
Number 1 car, according to Mason Fox, is the 1972 Chevy Nova.
Yeah. A lot of people like that car.
Yeah.
That was a wonderful car. Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing that gives me like Corvettes is that you have one and you put it in your garage, you put a cover over it that you buy especially for it, and then you only take it out on sunshiny days when there's no rain in the forecast and drive it around the block a few times and you park it again. It's not really a car that you go to work in every day, or most people don't. You don't see them on the road that often. And boy, I got to drive one of those within the last year, and getting in and out of that when you're my age is not
really.
Oh, they're low.
Whose Corvette was it?
It was Dick Quackenbush's.
Oh, okay.
It was over at getting serviced.
Yeah.
And so Dawn took me over to pick it up. It was done, and she let me drive it back to Jesup.
Wow.
I said, all right. And then Beth Lauterbach bought a Mini Cooper.
Yeah.
And so I was looking at it, so she let me drive it around Jesup, which was a fun little thing. But the thing that got me with the Mini Cooper is that she had to take it to Chicago at that time to get serviced. And I thought, well, that doesn't make any sense at all. No. But these, with the Lexus, I've had friends that have Lexus, and one was in one got it in Davenport, and Dawn got hers in Des Moines. And they have it in their contracts when they bought it. Like, when they service, somebody from Davenport would drive to Jesup and leave their car and take it back. And then, and Dawn, they do that for Dawn out of Des Moines.
Wow.
So, because every now and then you look over there and there's a different Lexus in her driveway. And some of them are, newer and they look really nice. And she never drives them. And I think, man, I'd be driving that around some. But, so they're nice cars, and but I don't know how the Lexus people can afford to do that, but that's how they. But this oil, like my car goes to like 5,000 miles between oil changes anymore, and so it wouldn't be that many oil changes a year for most people.
No.
And she's kind of semi-retired, so she doesn't drive to work every day or this sort of thing, and so. They're very nice cars.
They are.
I didn't think about that when I was making my list, or just but I'm not sure. Do you know who makes those, or I don't know who makes those.
I don't either.
But they're very nice cars. So
we have breaking news here. The NRG Media, the Bright Side Initiative for Nonprofits, has awarded the Steve Brown Arts Center 20 on-air and 20 stream mentions inside 14 to 15 seconds of copy or 30 seconds of public service announcements across our 4 radio stations. And those 4 radio stations are 105.7 KOKZ, Rock 108, 107.3 Hank FM, and News Talk 1540 KXEL.
Okay.
You may have listened to KXEL in your time.
I have, yes.
Yes.
Well, you don't think I've listened to rock something?
You might have. You listen to that long hair stuff.
I never have.
for a total of 160 public service announcements for a value of $2,500.
Very good.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Spotlighting our mission statement and website. It's free.
What prompted you to apply for this?
Donnie Jacobson, who Donnie's been on, and he's been a great supporter of the Steve Brown Arts Center. Donnie texted me and said that there was an announcement on 105.7 about this. Mm-hmm. And so I went to their website, found it, applied for it. It's like applying for a grant. It's a real easy application. Yeah. You know, some grants take forever, take days. This one took like 20 minutes. And I got this email. They will send me a recap at the end of the Spotlight campaign. They request a donation receipt from us at the time if it's possible. Okay. So we have those in our inventory.
Make sure Blake signs that because we don't want anything in our name.
I understand.
Okay. Yeah.
So we want to thank the group again, the NRG Medias, on the Bright Side Initiative for Nonprofit, for letting us know about that. And I look forward to hearing that on the radio.
I can get rid of my satellite radio now and start listening to those stations.
Yes. Listen, you listen to that long hair stuff all the time.
I listen to the greatest music ever made, 1960s music.
All right. Well, you said you had something about the Persian Gulf.
Yeah, the Persian Gulf is the oil crisis again. And I hate to read the whole article to you, but I tried to shorten it up and it didn't work very well. This is written by a lady named Elizabeth Shackelford, and she's a senior advisor with the Institute for Global Affairs at Eurasia Group. And this was in the Chicago Tribune. Okay.
You get the Tribune?
No, but there's a reprint in another paper that I do get.
Okay.
Which I won't make. No, it was the Des Moines Register. So. In 1970, and I'm a big supporter of solar panels. I'll put that out right away at the top. Okay. In 1979, President Jimmy Carter installed solar panels on the White House and introduced an ambitious solar strategy to Congress. This came on the heels of the oil shocks of the 70s, caused first by the Yom Kippur War between Israel and the Arab states, and then the Iranian Revolution. Both Middle East crises that reverberated across the globe due to the region's central role in energy markets. And so you might remember, were you old enough to drive in the early 70s? Yeah. What gas prices were doing, the shortage of oil and long lines at gas stations and this sort of thing.
There was a law that supermarkets had to set the businesses had to set their thermostat at 72 degrees.
Yeah. And that's when they put in the 55-mile-an-hour speed limit, I believe, in that time. Yeah. Okay. Speaking of the new equipment, the solar panels, Carter said, a generation from now, this solar heater can either be a curiosity, a museum piece, an example of a road not taken, or it can be just a small part of one of the greatest and most exciting adventures ever undertaken by the American people, harnessing the power of the sun to enrich our lives as we move away from our crippling dependence on foreign oil. Then she says, just imagine, this is the girl speaking now, just imagine the world we would live in today if we had taken the latter path. We would be decades ahead on renewable energy development, likely the world's leading producer of affordable renewable energy products. Most of our industries and households could run on renewable power. Human-driven causes of climate change would be dramatically slowed or even halted thanks to the green energy advances. And our economy would not be held hostage by the fate of a 21-mile-wide waterway 7,000 miles away. That is the Strait of Hormuz that we're talking about.
So think of this, 21 miles about from here to Winthrop is what it is.
Yeah. And those are huge ships. I mean,
yes.
And we would not have the need for 19 military bases across the region, a region prized for cheap oil exports, which offer tempting military targets to our foes. The current pointless war with Iran might never have happened. But President Ronald Reagan had other priorities in 1981. He gratuitously ripped out the White House solar panels and slammed the door shut on Carter's Grand Solar Initiative. He slashed funding for renewable energy research and development and tax breaks for solar and wind technologies, stalling the energy transition for decades to come. Why would a U.S. president abandon this investment in our energy security after the danger of our reliance on foreign oil was so nakedly exposed? The answer is
oil money.
The fossil fuel. One would be hard-pressed to find a better example of the danger special interests pose to our national security than fossil fuels. The U.S. government has subsidized the industry since 1913, and special protections for big oil still cost American taxpayers billions of dollars every year. President Donald Trump's Big Beautiful Bill increased existing subsidies for the fossil fuel industry last year by $4 billion for a total of $34.8 billion a year. That windfall makes the $445 million that fossil fuel companies spent in support of Trump's campaign look like a bargain as their profits continue to soar. Not only have we not invested in it, but renewable energy hasn't even had a fair chance to compete. Thanks to the shale gas revolution that began in 2008, the U.S. is now the world's largest oil and gas producer, but the U.S. still imports 30% to 35% of the oil it consumes. Although we get little from the Middle East, the price of this global commodity depends on the global supply. When the price rises around the world, ordinary Americans pay for it. This is a scenario playing out today with the entirely predictable crisis in the Strait of Hormuz. Trump canceled some $35 billion in renewable energy projects, slashing subsidies for production and purchase of electric vehicles, and rolling back energy-efficient standards. This hasn't just left us more vulnerable to energy shocks, it also has allowed China to take the global lead in the renewable energy transition. And this is the part I find very ironic. Carter's solar panels did end up in museums after all, instead of foretelling our energy independent future. Perhaps it's fitting that one of these solar panels sits in the Solar Science and Technology Museum in Zhengzhou, China, in the collection of the world's largest manufacturer of solar hot water heaters today. Interesting.
Yeah.
And ironic and sad.
Yeah. This Steve Brown Art Center Podcast Network. The couple of quick shout outs. We have some loyal listeners in there. There's been a couple families affected by deaths in the area. Jane Barnett passed away. Jane Barnett is Diane Kelly and Diane Kelly's mother, Katie Belvin's grandmother. She was a great fan of the Jesup girls basketball for many years. Jane was quite a lady, and I know she'll be missed by her family. Another one was Anthony Even. He lived over in Gilbertville. He was the mother to many Evens, including Mrs. Kite that used to work at the bank with Joyce Wright years ago. Anthony was Heather Kite's grandfather. He lived to the ripe old age of 102 years old. He was still living in his house.
Yeah. That's great.
If I'm
That's great when that happens.
Yeah, if I'm still living in my house at 102, leave me alone.
I don't think you have to worry about that.
You don't think
really
I'll
grumpy.
make that?
He's grumpy, yeah. Don't trick or treat at that house.
That's right. Probably won't hear you knocking on the door.
Well, that's true too. And if you do have a reputation of being grumpy, you save a fortune in Halloween candy and Girl Scout cookies and that kind of thing.
That's right. But our condolences go to Jane Barnett's family and Anthony Evans' family. So both of them have had a big impact in Buchanan County. So this is Steve Brown Art Center, and we'll be right back. Cast Network, and we're back. The world is made of Heath bars, in my mind.
Heath bars?
Heath bars.
Okay. Boy. And then peanut butter?
It's toffee. It's toffee.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about. I've eaten not for a long time.
Yeah, but, I mean, it's crunchy. It's good tasting. You get through it, and it's real sticky. It's bad for your teeth.
Yep.
Everything that the dentists love and mothers hate. On Friday nights, my dad drove the California route. My father, there were two things. He would leave Sunday at 3 in the afternoon.
Okay.
And he would get back Friday or Saturday morning, anywhere from midnight to 4.
And he had been to California and back?
Yeah, California and back.
And what did he haul? What kind of stuff?
They hauled everything.
Oh,
He worked
okay.
for John's Rude Trucking Company.
Okay.
Rather unique. Someday.
So something from Iowa that he was taking
to California
okay.
and,
All right.
and
Did he bring back a load then?
They would.
Yeah.
They would.
Okay.
It was tandem. They were tandem. You know, that's hard to drive. Just think, it's 2.5 days out there,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, and 2.5 days back. I mean, all you're doing is driving.
That'd be tough.
Yeah.
That's a tough way to make a living. So, and did he have like the sleeper cab like
They
now?
did. They
okay.
did. Yeah.
Yeah.
All that.
I wasn't sure when they started having those, but
He'd get home on Saturday morning, late Friday night. If I wasn't up, he'd get me up because he had so much coffee in me or in him.
Yeah.
He'd get me up and we'd play gin rummy, and then he'd take all his coins out of his pocket from the $25 that my mom had gave him to get him through the week.
$25. Yeah.
And he always had cash sitting in his wallet because I wanted that cash, but he gave me the coins.
Yeah.
And that coins he did got me through my first 3 years of college.
So you saved them?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
We would take once the piggy bank would get full, we'd take the piggy bank down to the Cresco United Savings Bank and put it in my savings account.
Okay.
And it got me through. But also he would bring me back the Heath bars every Friday night. I'm sure my dad was eating Heath bars too on the road. Yeah. But he
saved one for you.
He always had a Heath bar or two for me, depending on the week. So that was wonderful. I always love Heath bars. That's what I was eating when the doctor told me I better start eating other things.
Yeah. Isn't it amazing the memories you have about your father? Listen to the guys talk about their father and be something like that.
Yeah.
That sticks out.
It is
first, so
it is, but it was wonderful memories of playing cards. But then eventually that coffee would wear off about sunup. Yeah. And he'd go to bed, and I couldn't be loud.
Yeah.
I had to be quiet.
You hopped up on the Heath bar. So
I wanted to be loud.
About how old were you at this time?
So he worked for John's Rude probably from the time I was about 7 till I was 14.
Okay, so that's a good long stretch of
time. Yeah.
Well, that's really neat. And I bet he enjoyed just playing the cards and everything. And it's like a tradition of having the coins in the Heath bar, and so that's very neat. That's a neat story.
There's no way, now they got rid of the pennies and all of that.
He probably have to give you a credit card of some kind.
Have you ever been any place yet that won't give you penny change?
Oh, yeah. Like Quick Star, I've been to Fairway Store, a lot of stores. If they don't have any pennies, they just round it to the nickel. And there's one place they owed me like 7 cents or something. So they gave me a nickel and 2 pennies. And I said, well, you need the penny? Well, yeah, we always need a penny. Well, I gave them the 2 pennies back then so they could have them because, and there's, millions of the things out there.
It's got to do hell on the bookkeeping.
Well, yeah, and you figure if, like Quick Star, if they're rounding up every day at all the stores they have, 3 cents, 4 cents, whatever, that's got to add up to money after a while. I mean, I don't know. Of course, I would bet maybe your cash purchases aren't, I wonder what percentage of their purchases are cash purchases because, at the pumps, it's mostly cards. Inside, a lot of people use credit cards. So maybe it's not that big a deal for them. I don't know.
So when you go to Quick Start, do you have cash in your pocket right now?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. How much cash do you have in your pocket? Approximately.
I bet $100.
$100. Yeah. All right. So John, our audience members here will have to attack when we get outside. I'll give you half. All right.
No, if you use cash, then your wife doesn't know what you're buying. See.
Interesting. Too bad he's not here to cut that.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm not afraid.
All right. Some things going on at the Steve Brown Arts Center right now. We have John Decker at M's Coffee till the end of this month. Katie Kelly's art will be there all of the month of April. Or not Katie Kelly, Katie Belvins. Shelby Stone's art is being showed at the community room at the Jesup Public Library right now, for those of you that haven't seen that yet. Shelby plans on teaching some classes here and at the Jesup Public Library, some painting classes. Don't forget, we had an event last week at Joe's Pizza in Manchester, and it was a wonderful event. Dale's got some things to tie up about Manchester here in a little bit. Remember, we have a 24-hour Mustang camera sponsored by Joe's Pizza in Independence, and a 24-hour Hawk camera sponsored by Joe's Pizza in Manchester. We had that on the screen last week as we had that show. Don't forget Laces. The art club the art committee over in Independence has a little free art house, not too far from the administrative building at the Independence School District. For anybody that wants to work on art, stop there and get supplies. Dale, you have some things on Chester, you said, or Manchester.
Yeah, well, I was thinking, not knowing for sure how much time we would have last week, that I'd have a few things. And so Manchester, the first one is in England.
Okay.
And the Romans were in Manchester, or in England, for many years.
Yeah.
It's part of the Roman Empire. And so in Latin, the place that is now Manchester, England, was called Mamucium. Okay? That's Latin.
Mamucium.
Probably mispronounced.
Interesting.
The CIUM part refers to a fort, but the hill where they built this fort resembled a woman's breast to them. And so that's why they called it the MAMU, Latin, referred to a woman's breast. So that's how they got its name. Okay,
you're going to get us in trouble with people, Dale.
Well, this reminded me of something like in the United States, we have a similar kind of thing. Do you know what it is? It's out west.
What would that be?
No, it's a mountain range.
Out west? Other eye?
The Grand Tetons.
The Grand Tetons.
Yeah,
sure.
The French explorers thought they looked like a row of, and so they called.
You can say it, Dale.
The women's breasts. Okay, so there was the Grand. I thought that was interesting. They've been looking for years and years. And that's 1,000 years apart from the French in America and the Romans and man who founded the settlement there.
Okay.
And then they later changed it to Manchester, presumably after the city in England. Manchester was the first real industrialized city. That's where industry really got started, where they had a lot of factories and manufacturing and that sort of thing. In Iowa, it was incorporated in 1850. It was started, incorporated in 1866. It's on the Maquoketa River. The railroad came through, the same railroad that goes through here. So it came from Dubuque and to Manchester and then on to Jesup and this sort of thing. Manchester, I think they had a long political battle with Delhi. What do you suppose they were fighting about?
Something to do with the river, I'm sure.
No, it's which town would be the county seat.
Huh.
And so they had a long dispute with that. And finally in 1880, they got a judge or someone said that Manchester would be the county seat. And I don't know if in Cedar Falls and Waterloo had the same kind of thing, whereas some people from Cedar Falls actually broke into the courthouse and stole the county records and took them to Cedar Falls so that they could say, no, we're the county seat. And so that happened many years ago also. But I thought that was interesting how important it was to certain cities that they be the county seat. That was essential for their future growth. And so
it was.
So you see how Waterloo is so big and Cedar Falls is not quite so big. And so,
well, what was it back before the vehicle? The horse had to be able to get you to town before noon.
Yeah, it was like a day's travel there and back home. So they tried to centralize it towards the that was amazing. Put it in the center of the county. That's what centralized means. Yeah. So they put it more to the center of the county, unless, of course, political considerations got in the way and things happen. So, okay. They have a courthouse built in 1894 that's on the National Historical Registry. Wonderful place. Cost $38,000. And they want, have you seen the clock tower on the courthouse? Very nice. And so 700 people put in money in the county to get that clock tower built. So they would have it. So the population around 5,000. Okay. Now, you look at my notes, but got me thinking about other Chesters, okay?
Okay.
So Rochester is how many towns in America, United States, you think are named Rochester?
I'm going to say 50.
Okay, well, there's not 50, no, but there's around 19 is what the count they have.
Okay.
So, and that kind of means a rocky fort. They came from the Latin for rocky fort. Okay, so I got one more page here. I don't want to lick my finger on cameras. There was a John Rochester in Virginia in 1638, so that word's been in America a long time. Charlotte Bronte wrote a novel called Jane Eyre, and who is the hero in Jane Eyre, the love interest?
I think I missed.
Okay, was a guy named Rochester.
Rochester.
Yeah, okay. We had a president. So I just going to narrow down to Chester, okay? Chester, Rochester, okay. A president named Chester. Who is that?
Chester Arthur.
Okay.
Great show out about
country
him right now.
Musician, Mr. Guitar.
Mr. Guitar, Chester.
What's a nickname for Chester?
Chet Atkins. Is it Chet Atkins? Yeah.
Okay, he was called the Country Gentleman. Okay. Marshall Dillon's helper.
Chester.
And what was his last name?
I can't remember.
Okay, well, actually, there's two answers for that. He was on radio. He was Chester Proudfoot. And when they switched over to the television Gunsmoke, they renamed him Chester Good for some reason.
Now, what was Burt Reynolds' role in that? What was his name?
Quince.
Quince.
Yeah, and he was he was raised by the Indians, and he was a blacksmith in the town.
Yes.
Marshall Dillon's helper. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's where he got his big start, I think. So Chester Proudfoot or Chester Good. Okay. Jack Benny's valet.
Rochester.
Yeah, Rochester. And interesting about Rochester, and I'm trying to think what his name is. Jack Benny's the man who he was the highest paid black actor in Hollywood. And he had a valet at his own house.
Oh, really?
Yes. And he had a contract with Jack Benny. He made $7,500 a week when they were on radio. Whether he was on air or not, it didn't matter how many minutes. But he got paid just the same as the other performers. And they were in New York at a hotel doing their radio show, and they said it was a Southern couple complained about Rochester. Eddie Anderson was his name, being in the same hotel as they were. So the management asked Benny to move him out. Well, Benny took all 44 of his people out and went to another hotel with them.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah, he was way ahead of him, way ahead of the thing. I was going to tell you about Dennis Weaver that played Chester.
Yeah.
He flew F-4 Wildcats in World War II. He was a fighter pilot, which looking at his character, you would never believe that.
No, yeah.
And he was in some nice things. Famous newsman, Channel 7. He and a partner.
Chet, I can't remember. Chet, I want to say roll call. Chet Huntley.
Yeah,
Thank you. I'm getting help from the audience
Huntley.
here. Thank you.
World War II Admiral in the Pacific Theater. Very famous. Was the Admiral. He was the head, a 5-star.
Chester, what was his last name? What is it? Say it. Nimitz.
Yeah,
Thank
Chester
you.
Nimitz. Okay.
It was off of Nimitz Destroyer, right? Yeah. Thank you.
And Iowa, U.S. Senator.
Help me, audience.
They have a restaurant named after him now.
Culver?
Yeah, Chet Culver.
Chet Culver, sure.
And last but not least, the owner-publisher of the Jesup Citizen Herald.
Chester Wright?
Chester Wright, that's right. And I asked you about Chet Reagan. He's played guitar for us on this. And so I asked if his name was really Chester, and he said, no, it's just Chet. That was
Chet.
Yeah. So his parents just named him Chet. So
interesting.
So anyway, what's in a name? We'll never know. And the Green Roast Cafe, I remember that. See, so,
yeah.
All right. So that's what I had about Chester.
Okay. Thank you. That was good. That was wonderful. I was thinking about this today, Dale, and we got a couple minutes for this. If the art center were to end today, what is our monument?
I think your monument, and I think it's mostly your monument, is all these people that have come out of the woodwork, so to speak, as artists that nobody knew anything about. There's a lot of people doing art that nobody knew anything about, and you got them some publicity, you got them out and exposed, and I don't know if they've sold some of their stuff, but there are people who know who they are, and I think that's probably the most, because I had no idea that these people you bring in here, I had no idea they existed, they were doing art, and some good stuff.
They
some
are
good stuff.
They
And
are.
you've got their works in businesses where people can see them, in the library. You've had them on the program so you can talk about how they got started in art, which maybe would inspire somebody else to do it. And so I would say that's probably the legacy of this show, is the number of people that are doing art that are now being known, and other people, well, in those artists, we have the artist meeting, and they talk about technique, or I need help doing this. They have a support group kind of thing now too.
Yes.
And so I think all these artists, I think that would be the legacy of this show.
And that is a wonderful thing. I think about this, Dale, and I appreciate you saying that. I think about this. If we had a building, we'd worry more about the building than we would about the artists.
Yeah.
We don't have to worry about the building. We're
Yeah.
lucky enough we have places like M's and the library and the Gedneys and the Heartland Business and Event Center here that so kindly lets us use their facility week after week. Kelly Seahas and John Klotzbach, who put multiple articles in the paper, got our name out in the Independence paper. We expanded. I don't know if I saw going out of Jesup at first. Mm-hmm. And, we're county-wide now. I don't know if we want to be bigger than that.
Well, are we getting lots of offers? Or?
No, but
okay,
that's right. A good thing either. That's a good thing right now.
Yeah. But sometimes it's better just to do what you do well instead of spraying it out too thin and not being able to do it well.
It is. We're real fortunate. Like you say, there are some wonderful, wonderful artists that we've had on and that we're going to have on. We have the year planned for M's. We have events planned for the year that we'll meet new artists. Mm-hmm. We have artists coming. So, but if you'd like to donate to the Steve Brown Arts Center and have an idea for an event, go to stevebrownartscenter.org and follow the link. If you have news or would like to sponsor us, email us at jim@stevebrownartscenter.org or call 319-290-0241. And leave a message, or grab Dale at Quick Star as he
spending my cash,
as he's spending his cash
save
there,
a few pennies,
and give him some ideas. We're fortunate to have as a producer who puts this out every Monday for us, Blake Tempus. He spends a lot of time at it for us, and he's made us better as we've done this now over 3 years.
Isn't that amazing?
Wow, it's amazing. So I'm Jim Gillespie with the host Dale Rueber and producer Blake Tempus. Our thanks as always to Kelly Seahas and Heartland Business and Event Center for allowing us to use their podcast equipment. And thanks, a shout out to the Jesup United Methodist Church as we were going to use that facility. Mandy was so kind, and things were canceled here tonight, so we came back to the studio. Thanks to the audience for bringing these stray dogs into your life, and remember that each day is about little victories.